what's good guys? This is Wolfie Reacts. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another reaction. Today we're going to be reacting to Krs-One, The Sound of the Police, and this is part of the Retro React series. So we've done Sam Cooke, which was in the 60s. We did Bob Marley, Redemption Songs, which is obviously a big political statement. And the same again for Krs-One. We're going to do The Sound of the Police. Now, anyone who doesn't know this hook, it's probably one of the most iconic hip-hop hooks in history. You could pretty much just say whoop whoop, and anyone around you will probably say that's the sound of the police, because it's that iconic. Like, it just, everyone knows that hook. And to have a hook that iconic from, well, this got released in 1993, so, and we're in 2020 now, so that's 27 years and people still already know that hook because it's just timeless. So yeah, I thought we'd jump into this one. Obviously, with it being called Sound of the Police, the lyrics are controversial about racism, police brutality, and this is what this whole series has been about. It's been about education. So I thought there was no better track for the 90s to do than this one. So before we jump into it, I've got something that I want to run by you guys as well. With the channel, I can see that people are starting to watch more and more, which I'm loving. That's the reason why I'm doing it. I want to give you guys entertainment and obviously educate you as well. With the channel name, Wolfie Reactions, I want to kind of give it a name for a movement. So obviously you've got like the big reactors have got the same thing. So with you guys, obviously you're on this journey with me, so I want to kind of make it something that we can all do together. So if you come up with a name or suggestion or anything like that, just put it in the comments below, and we'll go through them, and I'll pick the best one. But I want you guys to be a part of it. So literally, if you have any sort of ideas of what you want this movement to be called, obviously it's called Wolfie Reactions, so something around that's going to be ideal, but I'm open to anything. So yeah, if you've got any sort of ideas, just bang them in the comments below, and then we'll see what people come up with. And then yeah, hopefully we'll have a name for this movement. So yeah, before we get into the video, if you do like this reaction, then please smash that like button, and if you're new, hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell just to let you know on any new content I drop. I will be doing, there's a couple of reactions that will be coming out this week, and I'm putting a schedule together as well. Follow me on Instagram, it's Wolfie Reacts, and Twitter also is the same name, Wolfie Reacts. And yeah, check out the posts, show love, and let's get into the video, guys.
That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast.
I mean, the depictions in the video pretty much speak for itself, what the song's about. And just the hook, I could talk about the hook for this constantly. Just the police siren, him imitating a police siren with a little bit of reverb in the background with no noise whatsoever. It's just, you don't need anything else but that. And then for the boom bap bass to hit in the background, hard knocking, it's phenomenal. I'm pretty sure he's from Brooklyn as well, so he brings that Brooklyn sound, and that was the big sound in the late 80s, early 90s. especially from Brooklyn and that area. So yeah, you can really hear the production value in this, and the fact that it's so boom bap, it's ridiculous. And people like Joey Badass, Flatbush Zombies, anyone that's kind of used that boom bap influence, they realise that obviously the significance of that sound, and it really makes you listen, because as soon as that bass hits, it's just, that's it, head knocking, and you could even be doing it without even realising, and it's just one of those things that happens when you really feel the music. You just let yourself go. Couple of facts. Obviously, we do facts with these as well. His real name is Lawrence Parker, and he left home when he was just 16 to pursue his music career. And he lived in a homeless shelter as well, which kind of hard growing up in Brooklyn. I mean, obviously he was. I'm pretty sure he was in the ghetto or underprivileged side of life, and for him to leave home at 16, that's crazy. To go to a homeless shelter just because he wanted to pursue his dream of being an MC. So just goes to show what hard work and graft can do for you. He's become one of the most successful rap artists in history.
Stand clear, done man attack. You can't stand where I stand, you can't walk where I walk. Watch out, we run New York. Policeman come, we bust them out the park. I know this for a fact. You don't like how I act. You claim I'm selling crack, but you be doing that. I'd rather say see ya, cause I would never be ya. Be your officer, you wicked overseer.
Oh, you claim I'm selling crack, but you be doing that. So it's like, don't throw stones if you live in a glass house. Because he's basically saying the police are just as corrupt as anyone. They're the real criminals. And it's been handed down. Like, there's been so many different situations where, because of the police, and it's not just brutality, it's just not doing what you're supposed to be doing. If you uphold the law, then you have to abide by those laws. And it's like with Meek Mill. Meek Mill got put in prison, and he was put on parole for 12 years. There's a really good documentary on this on Amazon Prime. And I think it's called Meek. And he went to prison when he was 18. And yeah, he got put on parole for 12 years. And it's ridiculous. It's like someone gets released from prison and then put on parole for 12 years. It's like, I've never heard of anyone being on parole for that amount of time. And then there was dealings to do with the judge that was convicting him, holding him down. He couldn't write music. He couldn't go to the studio. He was on house arrest. And it was like he was trying to make a living and someone was trying to shut him down. But then the problem is that the judge actually tried to bribe him into doing a song in aid of her name over one of her favorite artists. And the rabbit hole goes really, really deep. But the police officers that arrested him, well, before they arrested him, they literally beat the crap out of him. And his one of his album photos is his mugshot. And obviously he did that to make a statement. And I didn't really listen to Meek Mill up until that point. And I've got a lot of respect for the guy now, even though he's had so many people saying he gets L's. But when you've been through that much injustice, let's just say, it doesn't really matter what anyone thinks of you, because you know your worth. And yeah, so it kind of reminds me of the fact that it's not just police brutality, it's all of the above. Police officers go through crack houses or drug dealers' dens or whatever it is, and then it's like the drugs go to the police station, but all the money gets pocketed, man. It's never seen. They split up between them, and that's exactly what happened with Meek in the narco unit that detained him. They were all found out to be corrupt police officers. So it just goes to show, like, his statement was forged. One of the police officers' statements was forged, and that's not abiding by the law. That's not being a police officer. That's being a criminal. You're just like the drug dealers. You're just pocketing the money yourself instead of feeding other people's addictions. So it's like, who's the real criminal?
Hot shot, you wanna get props and be a savior. First, show a little respect, change your behavior, change your attitude, change your plan. There can never really be justice on stolen land.
There can never really be justice on a stolen land. Think about that. It's like the Americans, they say all justice for all, but the land didn't actually belong to them. So, and that's a criminal act in itself. But yeah, so he's basically saying we can never be free because the land, it doesn't belong to us. You can only be free in yourself. So it doesn't matter where you come from. As long as you're free in your inner being, it doesn't matter what anyone says to you. But when you get oppressed, obviously that changes things, because people hold you down and it's hard to get up. But that's what we're fighting for. Everyone wants the same thing. Right, so when he lived in the homeless shelter, he was adopted nickname Krishna because he loved the Hare Krishna spirituality. And then he started writing graffiti, and that's how he got his name as Krs-One. Krs-One stands for knowledge reigns supreme over nearly everything. So obviously he was a big intellect, really conscious, and obviously with the fact that he wrote this song, it just goes to show that he's a woke rapper. He's not going to sit back and let this happen. He's going to use his platform to say what he needs to say, just like every other person that has done that in the past or in our present time. There's so many people that are speaking out because of this. And it's the right thing to do. If you've got a major platform and you believe in something, you talk about it. You tell everyone, because the more people that listen to you and the more people that follow your movement, they will listen unconditionally because they follow you and they hold you to a high regard. So they're going to take from what you say as gospel. And then you never know, the people that you might have someone that doesn't believe in that, but then they hear that and it changes their perspective. And isn't that what we're trying to do? It's like everyone wants the same thing, but the people that don't understand the history and everything else, they need to educate themselves, because if they did, they probably wouldn't feel the same way as they do now. That, and obviously the the people around them, the environment that they come from, or who they grow up with, or their parents, grandparents, whatever it is, there's always a reason for it. It doesn't just happen out of thin air.
You really for peace and equality? Or when my car's hooked up, you know you wanna follow me.
Facts.
Your laws are minimal, cause you won't even think about looking at the real criminal. This has got to cease, cause we be getting hyped to the sound of the police. Whoop, whoop, that's the sound of the police. Whoop, whoop, that's the sound of the beast. Whoop, whoop, that's the sound of the police. Whoop, whoop, that's the sound of the beast. Now here's a little truth. Open up your eye while you're checking out the boombox. Check the exercise.
He says, open up your eye. He's not talking about your eyes. He's talking about your third eye, your mental eye, the thing that where you really see what goes on. It's your mind's eye. So obviously your eyes are for to see things, but seeing isn't understanding. You really need to tune yourself and your mind's eye to be conscious, because a lot of people just think of it as a passing thing, like they don't really think much of it. But when you really look at the root of it, that's where it hits you, and it's like, wow, okay. But that's your mind's eye. If you look at things in detail and think with empathy, compassion for other people, not just for yourself, then you're using your mind's eye, because you're not just thinking about what you're going through, you're thinking about other people around the globe, what they're going through and stuff like that. And in respect to that, people, put your hands together for the people in Lebanon, because what just happened yesterday is a tragedy. And there's so many people, thousands of people that have been injured because of this. And obviously we as a globe, everyone together, the world's going through tragedies every day, but it needs to be acknowledged. It's not just, oh, we've got protests in the street. And obviously the Lebanese have been protesting since October last year. So 291 days. And they're fighting for the same equality, unemployment, corrupt government officials, political views, all of the same things that everyone else is feeling. It's just in a different light. But the message is still the same. Injustice. You're not free, because you're being held down by other people. And yeah, so because of what happened there, I just want to say, pray for Lebanon, because they need it. There's a lot of it was. I've seen some of the videos, because obviously it's hard not to see when it's plastered all over social media, but just the mere fact of the sheer destruction it caused was ridiculous. And hopefully they get down to the bottom of what caused it, because there's a lot of confusion about that as well. And I really think that the people of Lebanon deserve to know what happened in their city, because if something happened in your city, my city, anyone's city, you'd want to know what it was, right? You wouldn't want it to be kept a secret, or for you to feel like you was had the wool pulled over your eyes just to shut you up, and that's not fair.
Take the word overseer like a sample, repeat it very quickly and approve. For example, overseer, 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 officer. Yeah, officer from overseer. You need a little clarity. Check the similarity. The overseer rode around the plantation. The officer is on patrol in our nation.
Overseer controlled the plantation. For those who don't know what an overseer is, he was basically a slave master in the plantations. And and he oversaw all of the slaves. So he put them in line, kept them down, made sure that they didn't do anything that they weren't supposed to do. And obviously police officers, they're supposed to protect the people, and in many cases they don't do that. So that's the reason why he's comparing an officer to an overseer, because in that sense the officer is no better than an overseer, because he's probably doing exactly the same thing. It's just a different title.
The overseer could stop you what you're doing. The officer will pull you over just when he's pursuing.
See?
The overseer had the right to get ill, and if you fought back, the overseer had the right to kill. The officer has the right to arrest, and if you fight back, they put a hole in your chest.
The officer has a right to arrest, but if you fight back, he'll put a hole in your chest. It's a hard bar, but it's truth, because it happens every day. And it's not just, you know, police officers killing black people. It's just police brutality in general. Like if you fight back against a police officer, some of these police officers, they come straight out of the academy and think that they're super cop. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, it really takes a lot of discipline and mental to be able to control certain situations. If you've got an unruly crowd of people and someone's in your face, it's really hard to kind of take a step back and look at that situation and try and diffuse it in a political sense. But then it's like you've got a gun on your hip, and some people just get trigger happy. It's like, you know, I've got a gun, I'm feeling threatened, and it's just that simple. And if there was more education to this, then I don't think that there would be half as many incidences where people have been shot and they may not have feel threatened at all. It was just because of the whole situation, and they felt like there was an attack on their life. It's like someone's walking towards you. You're not going to fear for your life. And it's like, what if that guy that you was chasing and you had a gun on him started walking towards you and then just wanted to give you a hug because he just needed compassion from someone, but people don't see that. And it's like, what if that was the case? Like, the guy just needed someone to talk to. And that's a massive thing. When you think about it, you've got a gun to someone and that person's had the shittest day possible, or their whole world is crumbling, and all they want to do is just get some clarification that there is someone that cares about what's going on. And it's like, what would you do if you've got someone pointing a gun at you? It's just crazy. But yeah, I definitely think that there needs to be more education with recruitment of police officers in general, just for the sheer understanding, and they need to have the discipline, because if you don't have discipline, then you become unruly and obviously you're nervous in certain situations, and you know, mistakes can be made. So
they both ride horses. After 400 years, I've got no choices. The police, them have a little gun, so when I'm on the streets, I walk around with a bigger one. I hear it all day, just so they can run the light and be upon their way. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
With Krs-One as well, you'll hear that he's got a Jamaican twang in his voice. It's because, well, his parents were Jamaican, and he endorsed the Jamaican sound into hip hop, and he was one of the first rappers to do it. So obviously he created that sound himself, and with the boom bap bass line and the hard knocks, it marries really well together. So when you hear that cadence, it's because it comes from a Jamaican descent, and then he's incorporated that into hip hop. So with Krs-One, he won a BET Lifetime Achievement Award for obviously his influence in hip hop and what he's done for the culture. And he also started a movement called Stop the Violence, because he's very anti-violent, against injustice, police brutality and stuff like that. He created a movement called Stop the Violence, and that just goes to show you where his head is at. So, and there's so many people now that are doing the same thing. Obviously, I've seen that one of the big speakers from the Black Lives Matter movement, I think her name's Tamika Mallory. She was on Vogue. She was on the cover of Vogue, and you know, that's a massive achievement for someone like her, because that whole speech that she gave was so powerful. And if you don't know who it is, then check her out, because she will make you listen. And I think she's like 21 years old, something like that. She's so young. But yeah, so she was on the cover of Vogue, and yeah, I think that's a great thing for Vogue to do, to be able to put her on the front page, because obviously Vogue's one of the biggest magazines in the world. A lot of people are going to look at that, and they're going to get educated by her teachings, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yes, indeed. That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. Check out the message in a rough style. The real criminal are the COP. You check for undercover anyone DG. But just cause me a black man, they want check me. Them check out me car, for it shine like the sun. But them jealous of them vex, got them can't afford one. Black people still slaves up to today, but the black police officer, let's see it that way. He wants his salary, he wants it, so he put on a badge and kill people for it. My grandfather had to deal with the cops. My great-grandfather dealt with the cops. My great-grandfather had to deal with the cops. And
you can really hear his Jamaican influence in this verse, and I think he probably did that on purpose, just to tell you how versatile he is, because the whole flow changed, and obviously the Jamaican sound came out a lot heavier in this verse than the previous one. So yeah, I'm guessing that's just to show you where he comes from and what he did with the sound to make it seem different, because obviously when you're starting out, or when you're creating a piece of art, or you know, a body of work, and just entertainment in general, you need to do something that someone doesn't already do, because how are you going to stand out from the rest? And obviously he thought that Jamaican influence would sound really good with boom baps, and it does.
then my when it's gonna stop? That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And to anyone who's a gamer, or if you don't know, this song was used in Battlefield Hardline when you got in the car, started driving around, and it was probably one of the best things about that game, just being able to get in the car, listen to this while you were driving around. And Hardline, it was basically cops and robbers. So yeah, it was pretty. It was a pretty impactful thing, to be fair. Like in that game, just getting in the car and listening to that, driving around the desert, and you had obviously your boys in the back with their guns trying to shoot people and stuff like that. So yeah, it was awesome.
That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast.
So there we have it, guys. That's Krs-One, Sound of the Police, and that was part 3 of the Retro Reacts series. So next time we're going to be moving into the 2000s era, and then it'll be present day. So, and then that'll be a wrap up. So I hope you liked the video. Like I said, I really like doing these videos for you guys and just for myself, really. It's just something that I've always wanted to do. Let me know if I'm doing a good job, or if there's anything that you think I should change in the comments below. Just comment on the video in general and show some love. And that's it from me, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.